Hollywood's great producers, a man who's produced this New York Alumni show for the past 6 years. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a warm welcome for Johnny Francis.
All right. About a hand for Mr. Manny Harmon and his orchestra. They're doing a wonderful job. Manny, thank you. They passed on a joke to me about a couple that got married. And when they got married, you know, when they moved into their house, the husband said to the wife, he said, now this dresser drawer, this is mine. I don't ever want you to go in that drawer. He says, this is my drawer. I don't ever want to see you go in there. Now they're married for 30 years, and one day he forgot to lock the drawer. Forgot. Her curiosity got her, the drawer was open, she opened it up. What did she find? 3 golf balls and $1,500. She couldn't understand it. Finally, she confessed to him. She said, you know, you left it open. She said, I looked in there, and she said, I don't understand. What are the 3 golf balls? What does that mean? He said, well, each golf ball is a time that I cheated on you. And she thought about it and said, well, 3 times 30 years, not so bad. She said, all right, I'll accept that. What about the $1,500? He said, well, every time I got a dozen golf balls, I sold them. Not me, honey. I don't do that. I'll tell you. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I worked with a group called the Ames Brothers, at least 45, 50 years ago in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in a nightclub called Jackie Heller's Carousel. And one of them is here tonight. He's singing great. He's a great actor and a talented man. Would you welcome Mr. Ed Ames, ladies and gentlemen? Ed Ames, here he is.
Sometimes in the morning when shadows are deep, I lie here beside you just watching you sleep. Sometimes I whisper what I'm thinking of, my cup runneth over with love. Sometimes in the evening when you do not sing, I study the small things you do constantly. I memorize moments that I'm fondest of. My cup runneth over with love. In only a moment we both will be old. You won't even notice the world turning cold. So in this moment with sunlight above, my cup runneth over with love. My cup runneth over with love. Thank you very much. Good evening, and it's a great pleasure to be with you tonight. But to go back in years, when Hal was doing all this great stuff, and by the way, I will never forget his performance in The Rothschilds. That was the first time I ever saw him, and it was a spectacular performance. But while he was doing Bells Are Ringing and all those other things, I had departed, my brothers and I, Patty, Maxine, Laverne, and I. And by the way, Patty Andrews is here tonight. I don't know where you're sitting, Patty, but you look great. We stopped singing, and I went out and I went to acting school, and I finally got to work. My first show was not. It was a musical. It was not on Broadway. It was off Broadway. Way off Broadway. Flatbush. And it was kind of exciting. My first, appearance as an actor and a singer in New York, and it was a little show. It wasn't a big mammoth production, and it was so exciting because all the great stars of Broadway and Hollywood, and the sporting figures, and the president actually came in one night. You can imagine the thrill I felt when Mr. Lincoln walked into that theater. And I sang a song in that show, and later on I recorded it, and it was my first hit record, and I sing it every chance I get because it's one of the most beautiful. It's from a little show that I've mentioned before. It's called The Fantastics. Try to remember the kind of September when life was slow and oh so mellow. Try to remember the kind of September when grass was green and grain was yellow. Try to remember the kind of September when you were tender and callow. Try to remember, and if you remember, then follow. Try to remember when life was so tender that no one wept except the willow. Try to remember when life was so tender and dreams were kept beside your pillow. Try to remember when life was so tender and love was an ember about to billow. Try to remember, and if you remember, then follow. December, it's nice to remember, although you know the snow will follow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember, without a hurt, the heart is hollow. Deep in December, it's nice to remember the fire of September that made us mellow. Deep in December, our hearts should remember and follow. Thank you. Thank you. But I would like to frame that in a song that is one of my favorites. It's a hymn, actually. It was Martin Luther King's favorite hymn, and I think it's rather apropos of this moment, so I would like to do it for you now, and Sydney will help me. If I can help somebody as I travel on, if I can help somebody with a word or song, if I can help somebody as I travel on, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in my living shall not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a good man ought, if I can bring back beauty to a world upraught, if I can bring love's message as the Master's taught, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I travel, then my living shall not be in
Mr. Red Ames, come on. There was a shul in the valley, and they took a junket to Las Vegas. So the rabbi decided to go too. And they're in Vegas, and the rabbi's in his room, knock at the door. He opened the door, there stood a gorgeous blonde, blue eyes, just gorgeous. He said, yes. She said, Mr. Grossman sent me. He said, Grossman sent you to my room? She said, yes. Picked up the phone, he said, get me Grossman's room. Hello, Grossman, it's the rabbi. Did you send a prostitute to my room, Grossman? He said, yes, Rabbi, I did. Grossman, I don't ever want to see you in shul again, and you're off the board of directors. He slammed the phone down. She started to walk out. He said, wait a minute. I'm mad at him. I'm not mad at you. Well, here's the funny guy. He just starred 7 months in the Follies in Palm Springs, over 12 years with Mr. Wayne Newton as his opening act. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the country's great comedians. Would you please welcome Mr. Dave Barry. Dave Barry.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for that sitting ovation. My name is Dave Barry. I'm 61 years old since 1980. My social security number is 3. Moses is 2. Robert Dole is 1. And I am so happy and proud to join all my fellow performers here in a tribute to a national treasure, Hal Linden. That's why we're all here, to preserve him. He's great, great. And I feel good. You know, I come from Brooklyn, USA. Brownsville. Right. And my wife and I, she's from Yonkers. That's her. We got married, we moved to California, we bought a home on top of a mountain. Then the rains came. Then we lived in the valley. Same house. But we didn't need a car because the house took us everywhere. But we remember Los Angeles before it was part of Mexico. What a city, huh? 9 million people and 6 Americans. I'm not making fun. If you remember, your parents, my parents perhaps came from different countries around the world, all for one purpose, to settle down here and be part of this great democratic system. And I think we could treat our Latino amigos a little more better, for example, by learning some of their language. take the expression choo-choo. You know what that means in Mexico? If you don't take your hands off my Chevy, I'm gonna choo-choo. How do you say in Spanish, 4 Mexicans are drowning? Cuatro, cinco. I just got back from Mexico City, where I attended their annual Caopectate Festival. I made a movie down there called Run for Your Life. And don't ever walk into a Mexican restaurant and order food to go. Because they got it, you'll get it. But as Johnny just told you, I had the great pleasure of appearing in the Palm Springs Folly Show, and it was a wonderful experience, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And we get a lot of senior citizens there, you know. In fact, I told them, and I'll say it here tonight, I work a lot now on cruise ships, and compared to the ages of the passengers on the last cruise I was on, this is one of the youngest audiences I've ever seen in my life. Some of those people were so old, I didn't know whether to say hello or goodbye. They had me doing a late show at 2 in the afternoon. The captain of the ship held a farewell dinner the second night out. Anyone who had his own teeth was overdressed. I love to mingle with senior citizens. They seem to enjoy the twilight of their years. I like to listen to their conversations. I heard one old man say to another, "I don't remember things too good. But was it you or your brother who passed away last year?" I heard one little old lady say to another little old lady, "Do you and your husband have mutual orgasms?" The other one said, "No, we have Allstate." Wait till you hear the next one. A very old little old lady went to see a doctor because she felt 2 lumps under her breasts. They told her it was her shoes. You're a terrific audience. I can hardly wait to hear what I got to say next. I'm enjoying you. We're all telling stories tonight, so they're fun. Story about a little Jewish boy, young Jewish man. Went up to see his mother. He says, "Mom, I found the girl I'm going to marry." She said, "Mazel tov." That means congratulations. "What's her name?" He said, "Kelly." She said, "A shiksa?" That's a Gentile. A woman who buys retail. The mother says, "All right, get married and good luck." He gets married to the girl. A few years later, they get a divorce. He goes back to his mother. "Now I found the right girl." "What's her name?" "Another shiksa, huh? Okay, good luck before, good luck again." They got married. They got a divorce a few years later. Now the boy comes back to his mother. "Okay, Mom, this time I found the girl forever." "What's her name?" He said, "Goldberg." She said, "Whoopee." He said, "How'd you guess?" This is a time of the year, you know, when the Jews walk around saying Happy New Year, and the Gentiles say, "How will you miss Christmas?" There's a difference, you know, between Jews and Gentiles. Tell a Gentile a joke, he says, "I don't get it." Tell a Jew the same joke, he says, "I heard it already." A Gentile leaves a party, never says goodbye. The Jew says goodbye and never leaves the party. Jews are a unique people, you know. To a Jew, for example, a fetus does not become a human being until it enters medical school. People have to understand the history of the Jewish people. They fled from slavery thousands of years ago. They crossed the desert for 40 years, carrying sacks of flour on their backs, which became parched and dried from the sun, resulting in an unleavened bread called matzah, a cracker that defies the human digestive system, as a result of which they were very constipated by the time they got to the promised land. And that's why Moses climbed to the top of the mountain and said, "Let my people go." What an audience. I appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. I count my blessings like I did tonight, walking around the playground, meeting people from the high school that I graduated with, Tilden High School. Really? I was going to be a commercial artist, so I enrolled at Pratt Institute in New York, but all of a sudden, when I was 16 years old, I went on an amateur night at Lowe's Pitkin Theater. And I won a prize on Major Bow's Original Amateur Hour. I went on his program, I won another prize, a week at the Palace Theater in New York, and then going on tour. And I went on tour, that changed my whole life. 6 years, I was traveling around the country. You'll be amazed, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't read about it, some of the graduates from the Major Bow's Original Amateur Hour. Frank Sinatra, who was with an act called the Hoboken Four. That's how they started out, and then Frank went single, and he joined the Jimmy Dorsey Orchestra, and then the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra. Then I worked at the Paramount Theater in New York with him. And then there was so many other, Robert Merrill, who joined the Metropolitan Opera. A wonderful, wonderful singer. And so many others, Vera Ellen, and my goodness, so many. So then I went into every part of show business. That's what it afforded me, the opportunity. I worked in Las Vegas, the most religious city in the world. All the day long, people walk around saying, "Oh, God." Never seen so many losers in my life. One night in the casino, a man walked up to me. He said, "You want to buy a rented car?" The only romantic conversation you ever hear in Las Vegas between a husband and a wife is when he whispers to her, "How much money you got left? And what did you do with the money I told you not to give me if I ask you for it?" Who would ever have dreamt, ladies and gentlemen, that Las Vegas was going to become what it is now? So many foreign countries are now coming in. Japan is planning to build a hotel there. It's going to be called the Las Vegas. They're going to have blackjack, roulette, and are you ready for this? Claps. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy that my mother fled from a place in the Ukraine and Russia many years ago in a small town called Krasnostavolinsky Gubernia. She came to America. She voted for 60 years, and then she decided to take out citizenship papers. She studied for it. I went to the court with her on the day she was to receive her first papers. She had to fill out a little questionnaire. Your name, she gave her name. Your occupation, she said Jewish. Sex, she said not lately. Then the judge showed her a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, which he proudly identified. She said, "That's Abraham Lincoln." Then he showed her a portrait of George Washington. She said, "That's his wife." She said, "Can you count?" The judge said, and my mother said, "Sure, 1, 2, 3, 4. He said, "Can you count higher?" She said, "Certainly. 1, 2, 3, 4. It was wonderful growing up with her. She was a great television fan. especially the news. She used to watch Huntley and Brinkley. That was her favorite. She used to love to sit there waiting for David Brinkley to say, "And now to the Vatican and Irving R. Levine." For many years, my mother thought the Pope was Jewish. What a lady. I love Jewish stories. I really do. I used to work at a nightclub here in town called Billy Gray's Bandbox. Remember? He told a story about a Jewish man in his apartment, and there's a knock on the door. He opens the door, there's a man standing there. He said, "Could I help you something?" The man says, "I'm doing a survey on homosexuality." Says, "What?" Homosexuality. Says, "I don't know what that is, but I'll ask my wife." Irving! You made me feel good tonight. As I said before, I'm a very lucky man. My wife and I came out here. Ginny, my wife, was a former singer with some of the big bands back east. Vincent Lopez at the Taft Hotel in New York. Wow. And we settled down here, raised a beautiful family. We have 4 sons and a girl. I can't tell you how beautiful and wonderful she is. Wendy Barry, she's an actress. I even have in our family Bunny Summers, who is a very good actress. And we have so many friends here. It was wonderful to meet you out there. I tell you the way I feel, ladies and gentlemen, because I think we need honesty in America today. Everything that's going on with the IRS and with the senators and all that. I have an uncle, I'm ashamed to tell you, the most dishonest man in this country. When our government decided to raise the post, that's him. Doesn't want me to tell the story, I brought him with me. When my uncle addresses a letter, he puts his own name and address in the middle of the envelope, and the name and the address of the party whom he's sending the letter to in the upper left-hand corner, and he doesn't put a stamp on it. He drops it into the mailbox, goes to the post office, no stamp. Who do they return the letter to? The party in the left-hand corner. You know why you're laughing? You're all going to try that, aren't you? I hope it does better for you than it did for my uncle. He's in jail already. Don't do it. I don't like that look in your eyes, because I performed the stamp routine on the Tonight Show, and I've since received a letter of warning from our post office department. And I wish you could see the way they addressed their letter to me. My name and address in the upper left-hand corner. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Johnny Francis. I want to thank Lou and Fran Zigman for the opportunity to mingle with some of the best people in the world, New Yorkers. Good night, and God bless you.
Dave Barry, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it. Dave Barry. Yeah. Shelley Goldstein, Elaine Graff, Reparata Mazzola, Barbara Minkus, Charlie Slaughter, and at the piano, Ben Lazzaroni. Ladies and gentlemen, the 5 Boroughs.
Turn on your TV, and whom do you see? Who else could it be but Hal Linden? And later you may attend a new play. We hardly need say, starring Linden. He got a leading part in a show with Judy Holliday. Married Francis Martin, a steady run that's still underway. He's frequently seen on stage and on screen. You know whom we mean is Hal Linden. In constant demand since Sammy K's band. Let's give him a hand, he's Hal Linden. The audiences love him. And since we played our cards exactly right, we're happy to say it's Hal Linden night. He was born as Harold Lipschitz, raised on Bryant Avenue. wanna cast a singing Rothschild. Well, I will tell you just what to do. You give 'em Linden. Got a Tony, got himself 3 Emmys too. Linden shows the world what a native of the Bronx can do. Linden. Who is that handsome guy, the man who's Mr. FYI? Hal Linden. Who needs computer wonks? We've got a fella from the Bronx. Hal Linden. He is a graduate of M&A. The role of yes, a fish finds on his resume. Another claim to fame, the lead in the pajama game. Hal Linden, who is a double threat on saxophone and clarinet. Hal Linden, who is a paradigm for who is seeking this mini chorale. He's a New York alum, auditorium bench, named Hal. You're the top, you're a Bronx upbringing. You're the top, you're the bells are ringing. You're the clever class of a Leo Boston tale. You're a club performer, a real Barcelona, Riverdale. You're the top, you're a Broadway pillar. You're a cop, named Barney Miller. You're the chocolate flow of you who soda pop. Most of all, you are Hal Linden. You are the top. Woo!
The 5 boroughs, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it. Come on. 5 boroughs. And if you'll bear with me, I'll put on the glasses here. Ladies and gentlemen, here to make the presentation to Mr. Linden is Fernando Ferrer, Bronx Borough President, Larry Strickler, Special Assistant to the President of Bernard Baruch College. Would you welcome them, please? And now, ladies and gentlemen, our guest of honor, Mr. Hal Linden.
Let me begin the several presentations that are going to be made to you tonight. First, a remembrance from the one and only Bronx Zoo. And there's a reason, as you know, why they call it the Bronx Zoo. Let me read this proclamation. It reads, whereas today we pay homage to Hal Linden for his lifelong commitment to civic and humanitarian concerns and for proudly representing the Bronx, the place of his birth, for so many years. And whereas, as an entertainer, Hal Linden depicted the positive and uplifting character of Barney Miller, so loved by American television viewers, that he rightly earned a place in the Smithsonian American History Museum. And whereas, Hal Linden has always used his influence as an artist to provide informative and relevant programming such as FYI, ABC's award-winning public service series, and to aid charitable causes, including the March of Dimes, where he has served as a national chairman and host, helping to raise over $75 million. Now, therefore, I, Fernando Ferrer, president of the only borough with the word "the" in front of it, do hereby proclaim today, September 27th, 1997, Hal Linden Day in the Bronx.
My name is Larry Strickler, representing Baruch College, Abraham Lincoln High School class of 58, Brooklyn College class of 62. However, we have something very special for you, Mr. Linden. Your diploma from Baruch College. A little late, I won't say how many years. What went wrong? You were supposed to be an accountant. Anyway, some words from the president of the college. Dear Hal, I truly regret not being in Los Angeles this evening to present your diploma to you myself, but Baruch is hosting an alumni day tomorrow. You and I have much in common. I too, a native New Yorker, a graduate of the City University of New York, and I also played the saxophone. The Matt Goldstein Trio toured the Catskills for a couple of summers, but I shortly learned that I better not quit my day job. And I pursued other avenues, as you did when you joined the cast of Bells Are Ringing with another Baruch alumnus, Bernie West, class of 39. It certainly is a small world. Hal, I am touched that you wanted your diploma after all these years, and of course, I am delighted that we could accommodate you. My best wishes for a wonderful evening. I do hope that you will take me up on my invitation and return to Baruch and visit us, visit your alma mater when you are next in New York City. Warmest regards, Matthew Goldstein, president of Baruch College. And last but not least, some goodies from the president quickly. We've got to, where is this? Oh, this is one of them. From now on, it will no longer be called the Baruch College Bear, but the Barney Baruch College Bear. And let's see, one more thing we'll switch, and then we'll do the rest. We want you to wear this, okay? Let's see, turn that around. I've got to turn it around. It should be lavender. He remembers the color, but wait a second. I don't want to mess that beautiful hair. Could you? Is he not a picture? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for having us here. Our pleasure. All the best.
What a thrill. By the way, I graduated. I just never attended my graduation ceremony. I went on the road with a band instead. And so I just never picked up my diploma, and I think it's just such a lovely gesture. I feel like Henny Youngman, who got bar mitzvah at 68, something like that. Just thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to the New York alumni. Thank you to the Zygmunds. Thank you to Johnny Francis. Thank you to everybody involved in this. It's even nicer because I get to share an evening like this with my family who's sitting down here, my wife Frances, Ian and Kelly, Nora and Matt and Logan, Jennifer, and my mother, who's sitting out there. Who lived outside of Parkchester up until about 6 years ago, Mom? Yes. 6 years ago, I finally got her out of there and brought her out here. Listen, I work better with underscoring, so let me start the orchestra, okay? Tonight was a really wonderful night because I got to share it with a lot of friends with whom I worked on Broadway. Broadway is, of course, where I began. Barbara McNair, with whom I did Pajama Game. And that last group was Barbara Minkus, with whom I did The Education of Hyman Kaplan. Of course, Jackie Gale, who I worked with as a musician all those years ago. Broadway is indeed where I started, and so tonight, I would like to give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Tell all the gang at 42nd Street that I will soon be there. Whisper of how I'm yearning to
mingle with the old time throng. Yes, give my regards to old Broadway and say that I'll be there ere long. You know, nobody thinks of New York as a hometown. I mean, Gary, Indiana, that's a hometown. Peoria, but nobody thinks of New York as a hometown, unless you happen to be from New York like we are. And I'll tell you the truth, I still miss that town, even when I'm there. Because no matter how much they change it, there's no town like a hometown, like the town where you came along. The old friends, such old friends, are friends you keep your life long. The memories may grow dimmer and some are gone, but in your heart of hearts, they live on. Coney Island, the Brooklyn Dodgers, memories of the old Met, Toffanetti's, and that rooftop where I practiced my clarinet, Horn and Hard Art, Lindy's cheesecake, won't let me forget. It's my hometown. New York, it's a hell of a town. The Bronx is up and the Battery's down, and people ride in a hole in the ground. New York, that's my hometown. That's the town where I came to be. The old friends, such old friends, are still the best friends to me. The brownstones may seem smaller and some are gone, but in your heart of hearts they live on and on and on. There's no town like a hometown, no matter where you may roam. Sounds remind me, sights remind me, smells remind me of home, sweet home. So give my regard to old Broadway and say that I'll be there. A part of me is always there. Yes, I'll be there ere Indeed, I will be there ere long. I'm heading for New York, as a matter of fact, to do Scrooge in the Christmas Carol down at Madison Square Garden. If you're in town, yes, I know I'm much too young for the part. And I probably will be the first Scrooge-born Lipschitz, but 'twill serve. Which brings me to a kind of a confession. It's not really a confession, it's a complaint when I think about it. I did almost 25 Broadway shows in my career. And there's one thing missing. In all that time, I never stopped the show. Now, do you know what I mean by stop the show? When the audience won't let you continue and you have to sing a reprise. Never stop the show. But it makes you wonder, what does it take? Well, one lousy little show stop. What does it take? I mean, obviously, have to have a great song. That's to have great music, right? Unless it has no music at all. Well, you got trouble, my friends. Right here, I take trouble, right here in River City. Why, sure, I'm a billiard player, certainly mighty proud to say it, always mighty proud to say it. I consider that the hours I spent with a cue in my hand are golden. Helps to cultivate horse sense, and a cool head, and a keen eye. You ever take and try to give an ironclad lead to yourself from a three-rail billiard shop? But just as I say it takes judgment, brains, and maturity to score in a balk-line game, I say that any boob can take and shove a ball in a pocket. And I call that slop. The first big step on the road to the depths of I said first, medicinal wine from a teaspoon, and then beer from a bottle. And the next thing you know, your son is playing for money in a pinchback suit. And listening to some big out-of-town Jasper, hearing him tell about horse race gambling. Not a wholesome trout race, no, but a race where they set down right on a horse. Like to see some stuck-up jockey boy setting on Dan Patch. Make your blood boil, well, I should say. Well, friends, let me tell you what I mean. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pockets in a table. Pockets that mark the difference between a gentleman and a bum with a capital B, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. And all week long your River City youth will be a fritter in the way you say your young men will be a fritter. Fritter in the way then noontime, supper time, short time too. Get the ball in the pocket, never mind getting dandelions picked with a screen door packed or a beefsteak pounded. Never mind pumping into your water till your parents are caught with a cistern empty on a Saturday night. And it's trouble, oh yes, lots and lots of trouble. I'm thinking of kids in their knickerbocker shirts and peeking in that pool hall window after school. You got trouble. Right here in River City. Trouble with a capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. Now I know all you folks are the right kind of heads. I want to be perfectly frank. Would you like to know what kind of conversation goes on while they're loafing around that hall? They'll be trying out Bebo, trying out Cubans, trying out tailor-aids, like cigarette fiends, and bragging all about how they're going to cover up the telltale breath with sense and one fine night. They'll leave that pool hall, heading for the dance of the Henri, libertine men, scarlet women, ragtime, shameless music that'll grab your son and your daughter to the arms of a jungle animal instinct masteria. Friends, the idle brain is the devil's playground. Trouble. Right here in River City. I'm in the capital T, and that rhymes with T, and that stands for pool. Oh yes, we got trouble. Right here in River City. Gotta figure out a way to keep the young ones moral after school. Trouble, 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 trouble. Mothers of River City, heed the warning before it's too late. Watch for the telltale signs of disaster. The moment your son leaves the house, does he rebuckle his knickerbockers below the knee? Is there a dime novel hidden in the corn crib? A nicotine stain on his index finger? A certain words creeping into his vocabulary? Words like swell. And so's your old man. Well, if so, my friends, you got trouble. All right, you in River City. I'm in the capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for pool. Oh, yes, we got trouble. Right here in River City. Remember the Maine, Plymouth Rock, and the Golden Rule. Oh, yes, we got trouble. We got terrible, terrible trouble. That game with the 15 numbered balls is the devil's tool. Yes, we got trouble. I got a rhyme with a P, and it stands for pool. Yeah. This is a clarinet. Before there was Hal Linden, Broadway performer. Before there was Hal Linden, Barney Miller. There was Hal Linden, clarinet player. The fact is, I never wanted to be John Raitt. I wanted to be Benny Goodman.
1, 2, 3, 4.
'36. 1936. 1936, April of 1936, there was a concert at Carnegie Hall, changed the face of music in America. You didn't even have to be there. I wasn't there. I was in 1936. I was a kid. Introduced the world to the king of swing. Nowadays, when they talk about a king, it's some kid with blue suede shoes and a guitar, but to me, the king will always be Benny Goodman. Remember this? Challenge. Remember the challenge? Gene Krupa and Benny Goodman goading each other to bigger and better. Well, we don't have Gene, we don't have Benny, but we've got Steve Dweck on the drums. And Steve Dweck, of Lafayette, 46, right. Steve and I are gonna try and remember what the challenge was like. Here we go. guys want to get in on this? Yeah, okay. Trombones. Here we go, trombones. How about trumpets? You ready for the big finish? Here we go with the big finish. 1, 2, 1. You. No. Come on. Come on. Shh. I don't want to be here too late. I gotta say, you have no idea how happy you have just made my mother. My mother said, if you had practiced, see? That's it, Mom. If I had practiced, I could be making hundreds of dollars a week now. Is the band laughing? Is the band? Indeed, I began my career sitting in the saxophone section with bands. I left CCNY. I didn't pick up my diploma because I went out on the road with Sammy Kaye. I played with, Bobby Sherwood and Ray McKinley and Sammy Kaye, and I'm going to keep going until somebody recognizes a name, no? The fact is, I always wanted to be the boy singer and get to sit on the little chair in front of the piano. Remember the little chair in front of the piano? Come on, somebody remember the little chair. But alas, 'twas not to be. I had to go back and sit in the saxophone section. The fact is, I sang with all the bands I ever played with, but I never had the wherewithal to make proper arrangements for the songs that I wanted to sing, so we always kind of had to make them up as we went along. And I have been doing this next song that way ever since. Starts out with just a piano, ding, 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 close. Oh, the shark has pretty teeth, dear, and he shows them pearly white. Just a jackknife has McKeith, dear, but it keeps it out of doom. When the shark bites, blink, blink with his teeth, dear, scarlet billows start to spread. Well, fancy gloves wears old McKeith, dear, but there's not a trace on the sidewalk on Sunday morning. Lies a body oozing life. Well, someone's sneaking around the corner. Is that someone? Oh, Mac the knife. Now the saxophones are gonna play like on a tugboat by a river, a cement bag's dropping down. Well, the cement is for the weight, dear. trombones, can you play like this? Oh, let me hear you play. Oh, remember that Louis Miller disappeared with all his cash. Oh, Mac Heath spins like a sailor. Oh, well, did oh boy do something rash now? The trumpets, or can you blow a boop bop boop bop wow? Oh, Sicky Todrat, well here comes Lucy Brown. Well, that line forms on the right, babe. I will let it to Maggie. Maggie's back in town. One more time on Sicky Todrat. Oh, Jenny Diver, well, here comes Polly Peachum, and there goes Lucy Brown. Well, that line forms on the right, babe. Well, let's jump back. Heath is back in town. Thank you. All right, one final item of business. I needed some input, truth. Fact of the matter is that I lived in New York till I came out here to do Barney Miller. Came out here, did Barney Miller. It left the air. I went back to New York and did a Broadway show. That folded. I came back, did another television show. That was canceled. I went back to New York. You get the picture? Geographic schizophrenia. And I need some input. I don't know. California, New York. Let's start with Howard. Ladies and gentlemen, my conductor, Mr. Howard Salat. New Utrecht, 1946. And while we're at it, how about the rest of the Manny Harmon Orchestra? So, Howard, what do you say? New York or California? Yeah, why not New York? Yeah. Because I hate New York, that's why not New York. No, don't misunderstand me. I love New York. I love New York, but I hate New York. I'm probably not alone. A lot of people here, I'm sure, with an ambivalent feeling, or there's a little hate-love relationship with that city. All right, let's try it. Hands. How many people here love New York? Okay, other hand. How many people hate New York? Look at that, same hands. Fact of the matter is, when I get a real big charge every time I get back to that city. It's true. Then I get a really big charge every time I get the hell out of there. From the moment that I wake up in that city, I'm excited by the world outside my door. Then I find the elevator isn't running, and of course I'm on the 37th floor. By the time I reach the street, my blood is boiling, but I'm feeling great. That's because I'm in hate-love with New York. So I hop into a taxi, and the driver guns the motor through a light that's turning red. And he doesn't know one street from another, and I don't understand a word I've said. So we have to play charades, and I start laughing, resigned to my fate. That's because I'm in hate-love with New York. But when I see the skyline after dark, or just take a stroll through Central Park, then I know there's nowhere on this earth that I'd rather be. No matter how bad things get, It seems overnight it can be your street of dreams. It'll always come first, even when it's the worst. And I confess, when it's the worst, I think of leaving. So it's off to California to unwind. But of late it's rather shaky. And when it isn't, it's so peaceful that I almost lose my mind. And then I hear again that great Sinatra song. And I wanna be back where I belong. Yes, it's caught in the web, thanks to candor and ebb. New York, New York. And when I think of all I've had there, well, I could happily go mad there. But it's already too late to recover from hate love with New York. New York. You know what I hate most about New York? New Yorkers. I know it's a cliche. They're rude, they're arrogant, they don't believe a word you say, but that's why they call it a cliche, because it's so true. I got into a taxi cab coming in from the airport once. Cabbie looked in the rearview mirror. He said, "Hey, I know you. I know you. You're what's his name? Wait a minute, don't tell me, it's on the tip of my tongue." I got a little embarrassed. I said, "My name is Hal Linden." He said, No. What the hell was that? That was a true story. Here's another true story. I was going to do the Ed Sullivan the Ed Sullivan show. It's in the theater where the Letterman show is today. And in those days, you had to have a blue shirt to be on television. I forgot my blue shirt. I went across the street to a little mom and pop haberdashery store. I said, I walked through the door. This was my greeting. "Hey, it's Mr. Hal Linden, the big Broadway star. Mr. Linden, I saw you in The Bells Are Ringing. I saw you in The Pajama Game. I saw you in The Rothschilds. What can I do for Mr. Hal Linden?" I said, "I need a blue shirt." He showed me a few. I picked one out, gave him a credit card. He took one look at it. He said, "Do you have any identification?" True. Swear. That's because it's not the same. When we grew up, it was a different city. It's not the same. But the institutions that we came to depend upon, I don't know, they're changed. Another true story. Came into New York to do a Broadway show. We got there late at night. We were unpacking. My wife said to me, "You know, I really feel like a little dessert. I don't know, some coffee, cake, something." I said, "Hey, it's New York, the city that never sleeps." I went downstairs to find us some dessert, a little coffee and cake. I saw at the corner of 57th Street and 6th Avenue, Wolf's Delicatessen. I had an inspiration. Vodka. Huh? Russian coffee cake? No place in the world you get it like in New York. And the best vodka is available only in a Jewish delicatessen in New York, right? So I walked into Wolf's. I said, "Would it be possible to get a couple of portions of vodka to go?" He said, "Of course. Pedro, dame dos vodka." Change. Can we talk about the monumental traffic? It's a challenge just to get across the street. Plus the messengers on bikes who ride the sidewalks who'd be thrilled if they could knock you off your feet. If you make it through the day, you figure heaven's opened its gates to codependence in hate, love, with New York. But there's Radio City, the Rockettes, the Garden, the Yankees, and the Mets. Whatever you want is there, and nothing else can compare. And what about Broadway, the ballet, museums, the opera, cabaret? So I can't call it quits, even when it's the pits. And I confess, when it's the pits, I think of leaving. So I hop a plane to somewhere heaven sent. In a day or two, I'm looking for excitement, and I find I'm even missing the cement. And then I hear again that great Sinatra song, and I wanna be back where I belong. Yes, it's stamped in my brain. All I hear is that strain. New York, New York. And when I think think of all I've got there, well, I could happily go mad there. But it's already too late to recover from hate, love, with New York. But I finally had to leave. I had to get out. I got away from the muggings and the stabbings and the tourists and the buses. I live in Brentwood. And when I think of all they've got